guys, it's Phoebe from Who's Phoebe and welcome back to another Doctor Who video. I've had some technical issues tonight on my camera. It's been temperamental and been like no memory card and everything like that. So this is like the third take now. This is it's ridiculous. So anyway, on with the video. So today's review, as you guys know, I'm doing 24 days of Doctor Who, and basically that means I reviewed 24 classic Doctor Who episodes. Now I thought I wouldn't be able to film for you guys my review on Terror of the Zygons and Seed of Doom. Turns out, even though iPlayer have lost the right, ITVX have got Terror of the Zygons and Seed of Doom up, so I'll be able to review them on there. Still the same episodes, just in a different place. So yeah, I'll still be able to film those for you. So that'll be good. So yeah, so today's review is Planet of the Daleks. So you guys know how these reviews work. I do my positives, I do my negatives, and then I give an overall score of 10. Also, if you've never seen my face on your screen before, please give that regular subscribe button down below. And also click notifications bell so you get notifications every single time I upload so you never miss a video. Okay, on with the video. So, Planet of the Daleks. This is an interesting story. Definitely not my favourite, but it's interesting. And I'm going to kind of go through it now. This is a 6-part episode. This is a 6-part story. I don't know why I keep saying story. I don't know why I keep saying episode. 6-part story. And this is interesting. This takes place on the planet Speridon. The Doctor gets the Time Lords to send the TARDIS to follow the Daleks, basically. He's like, use the telepathic circuits on the TARDIS to tell the Time Lords that I need you to send the TARDIS after the Daleks, if that's at all possible. And the Doctor, shortly after sending that message, falls into a bit of a coma, and he has a bed in the TARDIS console room, so that's where Joe places him on, and he falls into a bit of a coma, so he can recuperate, and also the Time Lords have actually done what he's requested and, you know, sent him and everything there. So Joe leaves the Doctor in the TARDIS to recuperate and heal, and she goes off to explore Speridon, which is not what I would have personally done myself, but meh. So that's what she goes and does. And when the Doctor wakes up from his coma, what really surprised me about this particular story is the fact that the TARDIS said it had exceeded its oxygen, which is very interesting because I know for a fact that the Time Lords have to breathe in oxygen just as much as humans do. So yeah, that's incredibly interesting. Anyway, so the Thals, obviously Joe manages to find the Thals. Luckily one of the Thals is a space doctor, so when Joe says that the Doctor could do with some help, and one of the Thals says, of course I'll come to you, I'll find your ship and I'll do what I can for the Doctor. That's really lovely and everything. So the Thals tell Joe to stay behind in their little cabin thing, spaceship, whatever, and the Thals go and find the Doctor. But what they do find is his TARDIS is covered in stuff, and that's probably why it exceeded oxygen limit, because it needs oxygen around. Anyway, so the Thals kind of see the Doctor, and obviously the Thals know the Doctor through legends after his first trip on Skaro, and obviously that helps the Thals trust the Doctor because he's a man of many faces, which is easier to put it like that. And the Doctor befriends them quite quickly. And what I liked also about this story is they did that classic heat rises experiment to escape the Dalek city, which is incredibly interesting because that is such a great way to go about this, I guess, in a weird way. It's incredibly interesting to go about that. However though, for me, the molten ice was incredibly interesting, and I really loved that aspect because the Doctor said it's like that planet is really weird and everything like that. So that is also very incredibly interesting. Now on to the negatives for this particular story. Now, as much as I enjoyed this story as a whole, there was moments in this story that I thought were a bit pointless. Like when the guys are resting at the plane of stones, two of the Thals have a bit of a scrap. And I thought to myself when I was watching this story, there is more important things right now than determine who the leader actually is right now. So best not to have a scrap. Let the Doctor deal with the situation. I feel like if the Doctor had seen that, he would have been like, enough, enough, enough. We have more important things to deal with. So I didn't particularly like that. I thought that was a bit stupid, the Thal leader having a scrap with one of his team. Because he's a space doctor, so don't get me wrong, I loved him as a character, and he's also like second rank, I guess, in a weird kind of way. So he's like, you know, second rank because he's a space doctor and everything like that, and he has skills, and you know, their first leader was exterminated upon arrival by the Daleks and everything like this, so you know, of course the next rank is going to be Doctor, so you know, he took it upon himself to be the leader, which I've got no issue with. The Thals played quite a massive part in this particular story as well, because remember, this basically picks up from Frontier in space, like the cliffhanger and everything like that. So the Daleks played quite a massive part in this. Also, the bacteria in this particular story was extremely interesting, because watching the Daleks experiment with viruses is always extremely interesting. Like the fact that they will do anything to win. But when they're up against the Doctor is always coming up with plans to win against the Daleks, no matter how impossible the situation seems. And the fact that the Daleks had a whole army in the refrigerator ready to go, the Doctor was like, that army, just to clarify how bad that would have been if the Doctor hadn't won at the end of this story, that would have been enough Daleks to roam through the galaxy, and that would have not been great. So that's also extremely, extremely interesting as well, seeing that. But back to the negatives now. I liked the Thals, don't get me wrong, but a lot of this was the molten ice being able to sort of kill the Daleks or immobilize them, which is a nicer word to put it, was pretty obvious that they could do that, because the entire time I was watching this story, I never once saw the Daleks go anywhere near the molten ice when they were on Sparadon, because I figured that if they went anywhere near it, they would be immobilized, and that was pretty obvious in this particular story, that the Daleks would be immobilized the minute they touched the ice, because it's like very cold. And also I figured that was also like, I know for most Doctor episodes it's hard to unpredict the ending, because you don't know what the ending of the story is going to be. I know it's very hard to predict what's going to happen, but I felt like this particular story was very predictable, because the molten ice was basically a solution to making sure the Dalek army in the refrigerator unit was immobilized for most of eternity, because even though the Daleks were not defeated in this particular story, they have been delayed by a massive amount. And also it was interesting to see like the Supreme Daleks. When they said Supreme Daleks, I thought they were talking about Davros, you know, like the creator of the Daleks and everything. I really thought they were like, I was really expecting Davros to make an appearance. But the idea that the Doctor was able to bomb the ice volcano seemed pretty obvious solution to that, because obviously in one scene when they're at like the stones and things like that, they actually managed to immobilize 2 Daleks in the ice. So I feel like that was very predictable, like towards like once you figured out what they were doing, that was like pretty predictable, like that was the solution at the end. I also felt like this was particularly very rushed as well towards the end. I feel like in the last part they were kind of keen to wrap this all up and make it sort of finish. And then the Thals sort of wave goodbye to the Doctor and they go back off to Skaro, and the Doctor, I don't know, but the Doctor saying like, I don't want you to be like sort of like all the glory and things like that is actually a really good message to the Thals. So, like when they go back as heroes, like do not like mention like war is all glory and everything like that. Mention the people who are no longer with them and things like that, to basically tell the Thals war is never the answer. So it's kind of the Doctor being like, don't tell them about the glory, tell them about the downside. Overall, I would probably give this story, and this is me being generally nice, because it's not a Dalek story I particularly like, and definitely is not my favourite story, and I probably will not be re-watching this story, unless of course it's for YouTube purposes, maybe in a year's time, to see if I think. Overall, I'd give this story a solid 7 out of 10, being nice. The next story I've got to review is The Green Death. I personally like this story, it's a great one. And also it's the last appearance we have of Jo Grant, because she meets her future husband in this. So yeah, so I'm very much looking forward to reviewing The Green Death for you guys. So yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow for another Doctor Who video, and allons-y.